welcome back to Otaku no Video. As always, thank you very much for joining me for my review of Satoshi Kon's Paprika, his most recent film. And this is going to be a kind of interesting one for me to review because I have a somewhat different view of it than most do, but I'll get to that in a second. This is actually an adaptation of a novel, one that was apparently very influential on Satoshi Kon in forming the kinds of stories he liked to direct. And it's very clear, this is a very Satoshi Kon style story of a woman who uses this special apparatus to dive into people's dreams. And she can literally explore these dreamscapes in this, as an actual, human being in this. And so, of course, she and her compatriots are used a lot, especially by wealthy people, to kind of psychoanalyze what's going on in their dreams. And then, of course, things get weird. So the overall view and feel of this is, as typical with Kon, mixture of fantasy and reality. The main character spends a lot of time inside dreams, and one of the interesting elements is the fact that in the real world, she is a rather severe, quiet woman, very standoffish and just very professional. The consummate professional woman who is her own person. In the dream, she is much more open and much more excited, much more energetic, and she really enjoys bouncing around. She has a significantly different personality in there. Kind of like how online people are more aggressive than they are in real life. There's just something about that dream world that really switches her on. And seeing the contrast there and realizing these are both the same people, quite interesting. And the advantage of doing this in animation is that the dream world looks just amazing. I mean, it can be sort of real, but with weird twists on it. And there's some just ridiculously big, huge dream sequences where everything's just changing constantly, and she is changing constantly. And it creates this feeling of unreality, which is key to understanding Paprika. This is the story of people who deal with unreality on a day-to-day basis and what that does to them. And it's also a story of relationships and how we deal with each other. There's a relationship that evolves over the course of the movie that was somewhat unexpected to me, but does kind of make sense in the way that Satoshi Kon relationships often do. Stuff happens to eventually drive people together in ways that are sudden, but common in these extreme circumstances. And it also helps the animation is just bloody gorgeous. There's a huge amount of cells in this. There's just a lot of animation done, which is important for a film where there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, it can be a little creepy, it can be a little weird, and I will admit I had a difficult time with the story. Because Kon is trying to be very subtle in this movie, it can be hard to understand exactly what's going on, exactly why a character is reacting the way they're reacting. Moreover, and this is where I kind of break with a lot of the critics, I didn't really get involved with the characters. I never sympathized with them very deeply the way I can sympathize with characters in other anime or other works in general. They're fine, they're just kind of there. I never really felt like I was with them, totally for the entire thing. I really wanted to see them succeed or whatever. And there's just something about those characters that he put together. Now, granted, one of the problems is that these characters are all older professionals, let's just say, and Kon isn't trying to pander. He's not trying to do things to make us understand and respect and really get involved with these characters. He's not that kind of a person at this point. So, or he wasn't when he was making that film. So I understand it. I'm not complaining per se. It's just I had a difficult time really getting emotionally invested in the film, unfortunately. But it is a stunning piece of work, visually as well as in terms of subtlety. There's some downright Hitchcockian sequences in this film. And overall, it's an achievement, no question. So those are my thoughts on Paprika. And if you've seen it and want to talk about it, or just want to talk about anime and manga in general, please stop by my website at otakunovideo.net, or shoot me an email at brent@otakunovideo.net. And my website has a forum and chat rooms and all sorts of places where we can talk about all this cool stuff. So hope to see you there, and until then, may you find more interesting and thought-provoking anime.